On this episode of Cuesta, David gives me weird faces and I make fun of him. And I admit that I screwed up because we had a whole show recorded and I just never got it up into the ether. But this one may go up. And if you do listen to this one and it does go up, what you're going to hear is we start off serious with the explosion in Beirut, Lebanon. Thoughts and prayers, everything, whatever you do that goes out to them. Help them if you can. We then jump into the meat and potatoes of the show. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and his ex-wife and another person bought the XFL out of bankruptcy for $15 million. That's fantastic and terrible. We can't be a fan of it, David. Then we talk about Major League Baseball, and I'm annoyed at them. You'll find out why. Yep. We talk about the NBA and the bubble and its success.
Good job, guys.
Then we talk about the NFL, a bunch of players opting out. And finally, we touch and David gets into his happy place talking about the UFC. So without any further ado, hope everyone enjoys the show. What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another exciting edition of Cuesta Dos. I'm Alex. He's David. We're both Cuestas, so I guess that's why Cuesta Dos is the title. Dave, hello.
I'm staring at the fan behind you.
Yeah, it's not on.
I was wondering if it was. I couldn't really see if it was moving.
This little guy is not on. So
put him on.
No, he makes a lot of noise. Listen. Guy's got some power.
He does, yeah.
Feels good, though. But no, he's not going to be on. It is sweaty in here. But so I messed up, everybody. I messed up on a lot of fronts.
You sure did.
So we had a full show recorded from last week. It was the beginning of last week.
Probably our best show ever. It's probably our best show ever, but you'll never hear it. You'll never hear it.
It definitely wasn't, but because you were on it. But
wow.
We had our show recorded from last week, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to that tomorrow. Then tomorrow came. Get to it the next day. That came. I think that day K-Doc sent me a show. Still haven't done K-Doc's show. And then the Gentleman's Cabal, which is a new show on the Sports Opinions Podcast Network, got out their first episode. They sent me another one. Still haven't done that. And now...
You know, they deserve their shows out. I don't care about ours. They need their shows out.
And now Colton Gesser, Personal Foul Podcast, another show that I need to edit, had a great show, a great guest on this past week. And I think everyone will be excited to see it. I just got that today. Who knows when that's going to get out? So
yeah, Colt's Colt. It doesn't matter.
That's just mean-spirited. You only are nice to the Gentleman's Cabal guys because you don't know any of them.
Oh, and K-Doc. And K-Doc.
And K-Doc. Well, yeah, we like K-Doc here.
Yeah.
But so I apologize for completely. I apologize to you, David, but I kind of don't because it's you. But overall, I apologize for not flooding the airways with more useless time and comments that we do frequently. So I'll try to be better. Can't say I will.
No promises.
There are no promises coming out of me. But what I can promise is that we're going to get this show started. And we're going to get the show started on a pretty serious note. Today is the 6th of August. Dave, it's the 6th of August. That's ridiculous.
I know. My birthday's coming up soon.
6th of August. It's a Thursday. Yesterday, Wednesday morning, massive explosion over in Beirut, Lebanon. If you haven't seen the video yet, you might just not know what the interwebs are, and you probably still call it the interwebs. But if you've been on any sort of social media, you've had to have seen this video. It was insane. The place was on fire. It's like a firecracker factory. Things are popping everywhere in the video you see, and then all of a sudden, explosion.
Yeah.
And then about 3 seconds later, gigantic explosion like that you see out of a Michael Bay movie. Probably more than things that Michael Bay have done. It goes like hundreds of feet into the air, fans out. You see that aftershock in all the videos. It's insane, Dave.
Yeah, it's wild because you see like the first explosion. It's like, oh, that's scary. That's pretty bad. Then the second one comes and there's multiple angles of this. Multiple people have filmed it from different areas. Some of them look stupid close. I don't know how that person got the video out.
Crazy.
But you see, they actually like get hit by like the wave a little bit. Most of those videos. And it's terrifying.
Oh, yeah,
It
most of the
legitimately
videos,
looks
they
horrible.
get hit with the wave, and you see like the phone go down, like you see like the phone on the ground, like it's a legitimate aftershock. And right now, I don't know what the death toll is, but it's not definitely not what it's going to be, and it's sad because Beirut, Lebanon has already been, the coronavirus has hit us all. They've been on the brink of civil war for God knows how long in Lebanon. So this is just not a good situation. And from listening to things, different reports, that factory was filled with ammonium nitrate besides the fireworks. Now, people don't know what ammonium nitrate is. That's what they use to make bombs. Like, there's really no other use for ammonium nitrate. So they had tons of bomb material on a factory with firecrackers next to the most important port in the country.
Yeah, with all the business district.
And right next to it is the grain silo, which holds most of the grain. And that gets eviscerated. So they're in a bad way. Hoping right now there's no indication that this is terrorism, no indication it's nefarious. It was a welding issue that they were welding it up. It sparked the firecrackers. They couldn't get it under control. Boom. We saw the aftermath. Really hoping this isn't something terrorism. We know terrorism is in that area. So whether or not somebody takes claim for it, whether it's factual or not, we don't know. But it's a serious thing. It's interesting, Dave, because I've taken to start listening to the Daily, the New York Times. And it's just recently because, I just want to start listening to a whole bunch of stuff because I have time to listen to podcasts, and that's super popular one. One of the first ones I listened to is the reporter over in Beirut, Lebanon, from the New York Times. She was there, and it's basically just describes what happens from her vantage point, and that she's sitting there in her apartment, just doing her work on her laptop, doing, trying to get things together for her, I guess, articles or whatever she had coming out. And she feels a boom and a rumble. And she said, I'm a California girl, so earthquakes aren't anything to me. I know what they feel like. So this, it just felt like an earthquake. So her curiosity peaks, and she goes to the window. And that's when number 2 happens. And she said she goes flying with the aftershock. Next thing she knows, she's on the ground, getting up, disoriented. And then it kind of feels cold, and she puts her hand to her head, and she has a giant gash. Like, it's just the things that happened. And it goes through a whole chronicle of her going to the hospital. The hospital's full, not taking anybody else. She goes to another one. Like, it's a disaster area there right now. And we have a lot of things going on politically in this country. But, God, we need to set them aside right now. And we need to sit there and pull together and help a country, help Beirut in any way that anyone can out there, Dave.
Yeah, so. It's terrifying. Like you said, hoping it's an accident. Very much hoping it's an accident. Because if it's a planned attack, that's not a good thing. That's very
awful.
bad.
Huge planned attack too. It would be terrible.
Yeah, that would be terrible. So I'm hoping it's an accident. It sounded like an accident. Hope it stays that way. And I mean, the death count's been rising. The injuries has been rising. Like you said, we just need to help them any way we can. Whether it's like just giving whatever $5 to whatever you could do, or just doing whatever you can. It would just be nice for them. It would be good for them because they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, just think about, anytime in time of crisis, anytime that a big natural disaster happens or things like that, people, they need food, they need canned food, they need baby items, they need clothes, they need blankets. All the same things apply here because people just got, destroyed, and that economy is now going to be shocked even more than it was because it happened in one of the busiest areas of Lebanon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people gave a whole bunch of money for the Notre Dame Cathedral when it was burning. And I think that's just as culturally important as anything else in the world. But if we can give money for that, we can give money for this as well. It's that simple.
Yep. So officially, I think Cuesta Dos right here, we are calling on anyone that can to do something. Yes. Period. Yeah. If you could do it, if you can't, then quite literally just keep them in whatever you do. If you pray, if you don't pray, whatever you do, keep those people in mind that are suffering. Because yes, we are suffering over here with coronavirus. But the people of Beirut right now just had another miserable thing compounded right on top of it. Yeah, so exactly. It's a trying time. So, but That's our somber moment of the show. Now we're going to kick off.
We're going to go to something that makes us excited.
Makes me and you excited, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So the XFL might be back. I know we're kind of jumping the gun and saying it is back. It might be back. I'm going to keep it a little timid on this. But The Rock and a group of people, including The Rock, bought the XFL for $15 million. And I don't know, man. I'm excited. I don't know. There's something about The Rock that I can trust him a little bit. I mean, he's Maui, so he's done a lot of things. So he could give us the XFL back, and maybe we can see good spring football. I thought it was doing pretty well until Corona happened. I thought it would have at least had a championship, a whole playoff and a championship if the pandemic didn't happen. But now maybe we see it revived.
So one thing that just indicates to us completely that it was being successful is look at all the players that are in the NFL that were picked up in the NFL right away.
That is true.
When the XFL closed out. All that said is they were playing great football. Mm-hmm. Great football. So the people that bought it, it's The Rock, it's his ex-wife, Danny Garcia, mm-hmm. and also Jerry Cardinal is the founder of Redbird Capital Partners. So it's a three-way split with $15 million. They split it evenly, so they all do $5 million in there.
Yeah.
And another cool factor about this, since she bought this, if they can get this off the ground, Danny Garcia now becomes the first ever female owner of a league. So that's really cool. That's a cool thing to throw in there. But Dave, I have bad news for you.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Me and you have to hope, wish, and pray that this fails miserably. Because every time we've been a fan of one of these, they've folded.
That
we can't
is true.
do this again.
We have to down talk this. We have to make it sound as bad as possible.
Like, we can't do this. Like, yes, I love The Rock. And yes, The Rock seems to just be like the perfect human in every way. He's like a physical specimen. Have you ever seen the Titan games? That's a fantastic. It's a new version of the Gladiators, of American Gladiators. They just beat the hell out of each other. Mm-hmm. Men and women just beat each other up in that show. I mean, Jumanji was so much better than it should have been because of guys like The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black. Like
everyone in that did well.
He's become an actor that it doesn't matter what the movie looks like. I will give it a shot. Because he's in it. Mm-hmm. He's reached that level. Mm-hmm. But I will not give this a shot. Rock. I don't like
this. It's terrible. It's never going to come back.
It's going to be awful. Rock, please get a season next spring. Please. Like, I can't not be excited.
Nope, we got down talk. In fact, we're ending this right now. We're going to the next topic. I don't care about the XFL.
Quick thing about the XFL, though. Pretty sure that all the teams are going to try and keep, because now that they bought it off bankruptcy, they can choose to either dismantle it or keep it as is. And from what I read, is they're essentially going to keep the gameplay as is, but the structure of ownership is going to be different. I think we're going to have 8 owners. Or we're going to attempt to have 8 owners. And that would change the game, because before it was Vince McMahon throwing millions into it. If you now get a similar structure where you have some billionaires, or in this league, they might not need to be billionaires. No, they might just need to be guys that are, obviously they need to be worth like $100+ million, 500 million, like a lot of money, but it doesn't need to be your typical billionaire. So in reality, it opens it up to a lot of different people that could buy teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not excited.
No,
I hate you.
Not excited at all. I'm actually disappointed that they even bought it. It's ridiculous. They should just let it die. It's honestly disgusting. Just move on.
All right. Speaking of something else disgusting, we really want the XFL to come back. But speaking of something else disgusting, I've been happy every single time a league has come back. Every time a league has come back, it's been, a good bump in ratings, obviously, because people have been waiting for all these to come back. And everyone just wants to see the sports happen. Major League Baseball seemed they were the last ones to get on board with a plan on what to do. We already discussed how ridiculous it all was, how it went down, where the MLBPA and MLB, took so long to get to just come play baseball.
I didn't think there was going to be a season.
We didn't think so. Now we get baseball. They have a plan in place. They have a pool of players that is gigantic. They don't have minor leagues, but basically every team has 60 minor leaguers available aside from their roster to call up when necessary. because real chances coronavirus strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're only playing teams within your division and your corresponding area's division in this short season. So NL East, AL East, essentially just all playing each other and themselves. Okay. That was good plans, right? Keeping it regional, things of that. Okay. What they didn't plan on was everybody freaking out and not following the plan. There has been so many postponements of games. And I get it. People are getting corona. It is passing on. You're seeing 4 guys, 7 guys get it. When it's the players, what the hell do we have the pools for if you're not going to use them? I get it. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to win games. It's an extenuating circumstance. I hate to break it to everyone. This season is really not going to count. Whoever gets a championship, it's going to be, a Rona championship. Great. You earned it with 60 games, not 180. Like, I get it. We just all want to see you play. And when it comes to the people like, oh, the staff got it. We can't play because the staff got it. No, go home for 2 weeks, dude. Someone could do your job. I guarantee someone could do your job, intern. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the manager. Managers get kicked out of games all the time. You don't postpone the rest of the game because the manager got tossed. Like, no. Like, I don't know. For me, Dave, and Rob Manfred, I never agree with this man. He's a terrible, terrible commissioner. But he was right. Teams need to get it together or they need to call the season. Play the sport of baseball or go home.
Oh, yeah. That's the number one thing I agree on is that if you can't play, if we're not going to get it done, if we're going to keep postponing games, just cancel the damn season. It's that simple because obviously you just weren't ready for it. And I think people would respect that a little more than just postponing games and promising things that just aren't going to happen apparently. So, and like the Marlins I got, it felt like it seemed like a million people just got it. Almost like no one cared in Miami, which is fair because they're not a team that's going to win anything. But like, it's annoying on its face that we keep seeing all these postponements, like you said, with a 60-player pool. When, they should have gone over everything. And I get it. Maybe the organization, we're going to touch on the NFL and stuff, but I get it. The organization might not be going over everything with you, and that's not good for the organization. But how in the hell are you just allowing it to happen as a players association as well? Like, you need to be in consistent contact and nag the hell out of them or don't play. We were already here. We were already at the point where you were saying you weren't going to play. Just do it. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Decide whether you're going to play or not. And that's the whole thing. That's all people want. Play or don't play, it didn't matter. We were already at the point where we're not going to have a season. So why would we care if the season just stops? So it's whatever the choice is, just make it. Stop being indecisive. That's the whole thing.
I'm happy you brought up Miami because I want to talk about that because the ridiculous notion that I saw on Twitter. Yes, a bunch of guys got it. They decided to go out and play. I might be the only guy on earth that isn't killing them for wanting to go out and play because at least somebody wants to play their sport. They seem to be the only guys that actually just want to go play. They're asymptomatic. They're like, we're fine. Let's go play baseball. That's what they do. It's what they're paid for. Was it right of them? That's here nor there. Probably not. It's extremely contagious, but they did it. What isn't right is for the social media mob and basically glorified bloggers in the sports media world right now. A bunch of them. I don't care if you get paid by a major media company. You're a bunch of glorified bloggers at this point. It's bad. Calling for Don Mattingly, the manager, to either be suspended, banned for life for letting his team go out and play. Letting them. For a grown man, letting a bunch of other grown men go out and play. He's not their nanny. Coaches and managers are not nannies. They're not parents. I hate to break it to these players too. They're not your friends. Like, we should not be putting, their job is to coach. Their job is to put them in the best position to win. Their job is not to go, hey, Johnny, I don't think you'll look too great today, so I'm going to sit you out because you might be sick. No, Johnny, do you feel well? Yeah, I'm good enough to play, coach. You sure? You screw me, I'm taking you out right away. No, I'm good, coach. Go play. That's it. That's the only conversation he needs to have. Not, I really think you might hurt somebody's feelings if you go play today. No, go play. Jesus Christmas. Coaches and managers are not. They are not nannies. They're not parents. They are coaches. Don Mattingly should now get a raise for letting his grown men be grown men. God, I'm tired of this stupidity.
Okay, I'm happy you got that out. We're going to move on.
Oh, there's more. There's more coming. Don't worry, everybody.
We're going to move on to a league that seems to have done it very right. We went over in the episode It's Never Going to Be Heard, where I said this league has the potential to get it right more than any other league, the NBA. The NBA, they play with much smaller teams.
Yep.
And they're able to get on with just multiple courts in Orlando because Disney is Disney. So the NBA has been doing really well. I believe there's 0 coronavirus cases, which is expected if you're going to be in a bubble. I mean, honestly, it's disappointing if there's any, if you're actually in a bubble and you're doing all that. So, but they've done very well. And the quality of play, there has been sloppiness, but overall, it's not bad. I, unfortunately, due to work and a lot of things going on, I've not been able to watch a lot of it. I try to catch up on Twitter and Instagram and such. But overall, it seems pretty good. I mean, you have your superstars playing like superstars. AD is an absolute monster. TJ Warren's the best player on the planet Earth. And Devin Booker and the Suns are 4-0. So it's pretty fun to see some of the things going on in the bubble. And, I mean, it's good to have this back.
Now, this is where the NBA seems smarter, and the NBA PA is smarter than everybody else.
Yes.
They agreed to this bubble, and they agreed to it, and it made it a lot easier for the league to set up a plan, and they have a great protocol. Mm-hmm. If you have to leave the bubble or the area for any reason, when you come back, I think you have to pass like 6 or 7 tests before you can even rejoin the team. Yeah,
or you're out for like 14 days. I think it's like it's an or something.
Yeah. So it really makes it difficult for someone to get it. And if they get it, then they keep them away. There's already a plan in place in case this happens for it not to spread. Now, if it freakishly gets in there, then God will. Was it Jeff Goldblum, the chaos theory from Jurassic Park? Life happens. This virus is alive. Life happens. It might happen. It might. Dave, you love that reference. I don't want to hear it. But it could freakishly happen. You never know. But they have a good plan in place. Outside of guys like Lou Will, who I know he was on the episode last week. I have to bring Lou Will back up.
You have to. Amazing man.
Just straight up G. One of the most irresponsible people of all time. But he is the Miami Marlins potential of this bubble.
Yes. But I have to throw this out here because I defended a part of his story last week, and I have to defend it again this week so everyone understands this. Everyone wants to get on him for going to a strip club. I believe it's Magic City. He said it was for the wings. And I completely believe him. Because just like I brought up last week, you have someone that you have known who went to strip club specifically for the breakfast because of how good the breakfast is. And you know damn well you're not going to a strip club in the morning to see the women there. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to say that, but it's just not happening. So, listen, these places can have good food. I can believe Lou Will on that. In fact, the wings are named after him. So it makes sense.
It's an odd story with Lou Will because he left because of a family emergency. I think they were burying his grandfather or great uncle. It was someone they were burying in the family, that's all the way in California. He comes back and takes a pit stop in Atlanta, which I think is Atlanta. I think it was.
I think, yeah.
A pit stop in Atlanta before going to Orlando because the after party for this wedding was in this strip club was Lou's story. I mean, gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. Like,
I love it.
If all else fails, you just have to respect it. But so off our Lou Will aside, the NBA had a plan with this bubble, and it's a good plan. It's a plan that's obviously working. Now, I have listened more to the Nets games, tried to pay attention to some of the other games because a lot of the games are matinee. They're weird times now, so they can fit in enough games in the bubble to get this to work.
Yep.
So the games are weird times. So it's been it's actually timed out nicely that at least 2 out of the 3 Nets games I've been able to listen to on my drive in the car from work, which has been nice, and it's been fun. And they're doing some cool stuff. I know the guys for the Nets, they're in the Barclays Center, and the Brooklyn organization has pulled their giant four-screen Tron basically down to the court so that the commentary can watch the game on the giant screen. And I feel like that is such a cool way to do it. And they're doing cool things digitally. All the leagues are kind of pumping in noise from the video games, which is really sweet. That
we're doing the virtual fans.
Doing the virtual fans, the season ticket holders, family members.
Someone a high five.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff. And whoever thought that we would come to a point where video games would actually be like a big factor? Because Dave, when I tell you I was listening to the game, and put your hand down. I was listening to the game, and it really did sound like there was a crowd behind there. And when a big play happened, it had like a nice little rumble to it. Like it was weirdly normal. So I got to applaud the NBA for doing a pretty good job that way. And I didn't get to see the graphics, but apparently they changed the graphics on the floor to make it look kind of like a home court for the home team. So they're doing good stuff there overall. The NBA seems to have this figured out because love him or hate him, Adam Silver has done a very good job being a commissioner and done a very good job, making the owners happy, making the players happy, talking to the PA. So the NBA is doing a good job, man.
Oh, it's doing a great job. I applaud it. You guys got together and decided on something to do. You kind of spoke like adults and you did it. It's a good thing.
Thank the 1% in the NBA for coming together and saying basketball shall be played.
Yeah, really.
Thank you guys. So we're going to jump now into another sore spot of mine. The NFL right now hasn't even started, and it's already pissing me off.
Okay. I'm just going to – I want to run over some things, and I'll let you have the rest of it. Because I'm going to have the rest of the next topic anyway, so I'll let you have the rest of it. So as you all know, the NFL is coming back. I don't think there's any preseason games now. A lot of things are going on with the NFL. They're trying to figure this out in order for it to work and to have a season. And they had a date, I believe that there's today, actually, at 4 p.m., the opt-out date. So you can opt out at any time before 4 p.m. for the coronavirus reason. And we have seen many opt-outs, 3 on the Jets in total. But we have seen many opt-outs in the NFL.
Yeah.
All of them obviously related to COVID. And obviously some people are unhappy about it, like you are right here. And now you can have the floor for the rest of it.
So I think a theme has been, we talked about it with baseball. If you want to play, go play. You don't want to play, don't play. And that's fine. One of the reasons why baseball came back is because a lot of the guys wanted to play because they needed to get paid. They needed money. I will have a huge issue in the NFL if the guys that are opting out get paid. One of the main reasons is I am a union worker. I work per contract as a union construction worker. Essentially, all the players in the NFL are the same exact guys as me. They have contracts to play for certain teams, certain franchises, certain companies, essentially, and they are in a union. When I do not go to work, I don't get paid. I don't have any pay time off. I can't choose to opt out and continue to get my rate. That don't happen. So if you want to opt out, I hope guys aren't getting paid. We have guys, Dave, like CJ Mosley. We were absolutely excited when we got the man. The man got hurt last year.
I still am.
All right, cool. He got hurt. That happened. Not cool, obviously, but you got hurt. Nothing you could do about that. Pumped to see him this year. Avery Williamson's basically ready to go. He's on the list, but he's going to play. Mm-hmm. Cool. We're going to have our 2 guys in there. We seem to be, Adams is gone, but we still have CJ Mosley, right? That was no. We're going to get 2 years out of the guy. 2 years because he chose to opt out this year. I get it. He had a kid. He had a brand new baby kid.
Now,
Congrats to CJ. Go ahead.
now, I do believe I remember seeing something saying that this year actually does not count for him, so we get him for another year. Him
God,
opting out.
I hope
I
it doesn't
think that
count
is
for
true.
any of them. I hope none of them get paid, so they have to honor their contracts for the rest of the way. If you opt out,
So, no,
your contract should be null for that year.
I will say I think I actually do remember seeing that when he did opt out. I think I did see that since he did opt out, the year doesn't count, and we get him for the amount of years we paid him for, other than the one he got injured, obviously. But the rest, like this year's just tacked on. Like,
I hope that works with all players, and I hope they're not getting paid for it, honestly. And I know that's mean to say because these guys have livelihoods. I get it. They have families. But you make the decision to not go to work now. So you should not, and I even hope they're guaranteed money because guaranteed money is a big deal.
mm-hmm.
I think most of the time it is split amongst the years. I don't know if they get it lump sum. I don't know how the NFL does it. But if they split it amongst the years, they should not get that guaranteed money for that year because you didn't do your job. And with the way it's going, Dave, they hit the deadline today. NFL's got to take a real hard look at all the rosters. They really do. Because if you have too many guys out, and you're going to put a crap product on the field, what's the point? What is the point of coming back?
No, I actually do think most of them are fine, though. I don't remember too many big names, like other than like CJ Mosley, maybe a couple other. I haven't been keeping up too much about who's been opting out. I know Tre'Davious White was going to, but he just decided not to. I don't know what happened with that, but he decided not to opt out, which is weird seeing as what he said. But whatever, that's cool for me. He's a good corner. I hate playing against him, but he's a good corner. So I do think that they still do have the talent to get the season going. Now, do they have the plan to get the season going? That's the question. Will this end up like an MLB? And maybe right now it seems like it, but we still have a little bit until the season starts. So,
and I feel like, unlike baseball, this could get derailed quicker. Baseball's being derailed by their own devices, by their own stupidity. Mm-hmm. The NFL, because they can call up players, baseball's a much easier sport to call up players to do it.
Yep.
With football, if guys do start going down to COVID, it's not easy to grab another dude to play at this level because they're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And to call up the guys, and if that keeps it's very difficult. So if it does spiral out of control, I don't know how many weeks we're going to see of the NFL.
That's why if we had the XFL, we'd call them up. Okay, we're not going to do that.
Or it's why, honestly, I don't understand why the NFL just didn't try to do like regional bubbles. Like, you're not going to do all the games weekend in one bubble, but you could have 4 of them. You could have 4 of them, and you could do 2 straight bye weeks instead, 2 forced bye weeks in a row, so everyone can go home and then come back and do like something. Maybe even if it's 3 weeks, where they do like a 3-week hiatus, everyone go home for a week, come back, do nothing for 2, get back to football. I feel like as a fan, I would wait 3 weeks in the middle of the season just to get back to football again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, it kind of seems more like an MLB plan than it does an NBA plan. It seems like they really didn't talk it over as much as the NBA did with the NBA PA. I mean, that just shows off the Twitter things of we want to play, like JJ Watt and all of them coming out and saying, oh, we didn't talk about this, didn't talk about this, didn't talk about this. And that's just as much on the NFL. Well, a little bit more on the NFL than it is on the PA, but you guys still need to be on their ass for this. Like, this is something that you both need to work for.
So here's a question that popped in my head, Dave. How long until Odell Beckham Jr. is the first guy to break the quarantine or bubble rules and go to a club right after a game?
I don't know. No. I think it's going to be someone we don't expect at all. I think it's going to be someone we don't expect at all. Someone that's like really quiet. It's going to be the lineman that does it. It's going to be something thrown out of nowhere because it's 2020. There's nothing else to expect than that.
But Odell Beckham's going to be with him. Beckham can't help himself.
Nah. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I don't know.
He'll be fine. It's going to be someone quiet.
I think he's bringing the blonde hair back, though, so we got blonde hair Beckham back.
In fact, I think there's a higher chance of Antonio Brown coming in and just finding a way in to infect people. Not even part of the league. He's just going to find a way in to infect people before anything else happens.
He's gonna like go to like show up at Steelers practice one day and just like sprint through it and be like, I'm an alumni, and then
Yeah,
leave. And like half
exactly.
the team is gonna get it.
Gonna find his way through and just infect people.
And Colton, yes, I did pick the Steelers for a reason if you're listening. Haha.
Okay. We're gonna move on to something that's near and dear to my heart. The UFC, one of the leagues that's still happening. One of the sports leagues that's still going on, been still going on, and I love it for it.
Guys have gotten the Rona and they have just not fought. What a novel concept.
But like I said about the NBA, though, it's a little easier for the UFC to do this because, okay, a fighter has Rona, you can't fight. Either find someone else or the fight just doesn't happen. It's that simple. It sucks, but whatever. So the UFC has honestly stacked in the next couple of months. It's incredible, the fights coming up. So there's a fight night coming this Saturday. I'm not going to go over the whole fight card. We are going to have a Chris Weidman sighting. Weidman has not been doing too well. He needs a win. So we'll see that. He's a co-main event. And in the main event is Derek Lewis versus Alexei Olenek. Derek Lewis is a very scary man. If Derek Lewis wins this, maybe he has a chance for a title fight. I don't know, because what I'm going to talk about next may have very hard implications on the heavyweight title.
Talk a little bit about Olenek, though, because we talked about Olenek a little beforehand, and just let people know that if Olenek does what he's supposed to do, we're going to see a potential upset, which shouldn't be an upset if this is what happens.
Well, Alexei Olenek is he's an old fighter. He's fought way too many times. If you watch it, you'll see his record is like 49 and something. Or not, actually, no, it's like 70 something, whatever. But he's fought a million times. He has 46 submission wins. 46 or 47 submission wins.
It's insane.
He's disgusting. If he gets anywhere, he's nicknamed the boa constrictor. So if he gets anywhere around your neck and you're even close to the ground, honestly, you don't have to be. He could if he's around your neck standing up and go to the ground, he could still choke you out. The man's insane. But that's what Derek Lewis has to go up against. Derek Lewis has one-punch knockout power. So we'll see what happens. It's a clash of styles, and it's not going to go to distance. I can guarantee that.
We're putting money, everyone go bet the other way.
No, this is not going to go to distance. It just simply isn't. So after that, August 15th, huge UFC pay-per-view. It is the main event, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier 3. This is for the title. This is for the trilogy. This is a rubber match. If Cormier wins, he retires. No, not even. No matter what, Cormier retires. Cormier is done after this fight. But there's some serious implications depending on what happens in that. We're going to go over that in a little bit. First, I want to go through some of the fights. We're going to have Ankalaev versus Kutabella 2. That should be a decent fight to start us off on the main card. We're going to have a John Dodson sighting. That'll be fun. He's pretty fun to watch. But Junior Dos Santos is fighting Rosenstruck. Talk about a fight that's not going to go to distance, dude. We're going to see a knockout. We're going to see a knockout, and it's going to be terrifying. After that, we have two people who can make some legitimate noise in the bantamweight. It's Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. That is going to be a very good fight. That's the co-main event now. And, I mean, I'm going for Marlon Vera.
Ecuador.
He's an Ecuadorian. I love him.
Sir.
But the Sugar Show is also awesome. he has charisma for days.
If Sean O'Malley was fighting mostly anyone besides our Ecuadorian brethren, we probably would, at least root for Sean O'Malley more because he is Conor McGregor-like. He really is. He has that type of charisma that he could rise up.
He doesn't have the exact striking of Conor, at least not yet. I mean, he's still young. He can get better.
I mean, we saw his one strike.
Against Wineland. Yeah, it was disgusting. But that fight, co-main event, I can't wait for that one. That one could go to distance. We never know with that. But finally, like I said before, Stipe versus DC. This should not go to distance either. The first two didn't. So this one won't either. If Stipe wins, he's still going to be fighting. I think he's still going to defend that belt. But if DC wins, I think we may see a vacancy. I think DC retires and we see a vacancy, and then something really interesting is going to have to happen in the heavyweight division. I do not know what the title fight will be, but I can almost guarantee that'll be a fun one.
This is a weird rivalry between Miocic and Cormier, though, because most of the times when you get to these rubber matches, there's true animosity. I don't know if it's because Cormier is an announcer now that he kind of has, a little bit of a different perspective, but it's not to the level where you would think a rubber match for a championship would be from a guy that, knocked him out before. Like, I don't know if Cormier is just different from what he was as a young man because of his other perspective that he has now as an announcer. Obviously, as a fighter, you have that chip. You hate the guy that you're about to fight.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different. There's definitely more respect there than hatred between these two.
Yeah, but there's definitely, and they both are going. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to die in the ring in this fight. like that's how much they're going to put on the line for this fight. This is literally just this is a legacy fight. This matters. This is huge. So I can't wait.
Are they both Hall of Famers, Dave? I think DC's a Hall of Famer. I think Miocic, he's done enough.
Stipe's going to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Stipe's going to be a Hall of Famer. So I can't wait for that. That's August 15th. That's only a week away, really. So I'm going to go over a couple more things real quick.
Go for it.
So after that, we have August 22nd. Frankie Edgar is headlining versus Munoz.
Yep.
They finally fighting. Now, I think it's confirmed main event August 22nd. They're finally fighting. They're supposed to be in August. They're supposed to be in that pay-per-view or whatever. And then the co-main event for that, Yoel Romero versus Uriah Hall. I can almost promise this won't be the Romero-Adesanya fight. This should be a knockout, no matter what. I don't get that. No, we don't have to talk about that. But two other big title fights coming up this year. I can't wait for them. We have Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje. That should be terrifying. Khabib said he was going to drown Gaethje in a tweet, and that scared me.
And then McGregor said that's his way of, I think he said that's his way of being a little bitch, and when the bell rings, jumping at his feet to avoid his strikes.
Yes, he said something about that.
But McGregor needs to shut up.
Yeah, but Conor got choked out.
Conor got choked out, number one, and number two, you kind of retired right before you were supposed to fight, so go somewhere.
Yeah. But so that's going to be a fun title fight to watch. And then finally, my favorite fighter, Israel Adesanya, is going up against Paulo Costa. That should be another very good fight.
Yep.
Costa's another terrifying man, but Adesanya is so good on his feet. I don't know. We'll see. That's gonna be a great one.
Israel Adesanya is my favorite in every single fight until proven otherwise.
That's fair.
That I see. He really reminds me of Anderson Silva. He fights very similarly. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's as good as Anderson Silva at his peak yet, but he damn well could get there.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah, I don't want to go too long because we also want to go over a little bit of UFC 4. So those are just things to look forward to. Obviously, the whole cards aren't done yet for many of those.
Yep.
But a lot of things that you look forward to the end of this year for UFC. I can't wait. And finally, UFC 4 is coming out very soon. Coming out during on the same day as the pay-per-view.
Did you pre-order it?
Yes, 100% I did. Not even a question. They released their whole roster and they released the top 50. A lot of big names in the top 50. A lot of people we know.
Yep.
We're just going to go over some of the top 10. So, do you have it in front of you right now?
I don't, because honestly, I looked at it and I stopped at the second one and I kind of just scratched my head and I kind of didn't want to read the other ones. I glanced at them, but I don't have it up right now.
Okay, so first off, I'm going to go over real quick the champs that are not in the top 10. So, Davison Figueiredo, 21. He's a champ. Petr Yan, also a champ, number 19. And then finally, Alexander Volkanovski, number 12. So, those are the champs that are not in the top 10.
I don't like Jan's placement at 19. I think he should be a little higher. I think the other guys are kind of fair.
But the people he's behind, it's understandable for the most part.
UFC's hard because it's also a lot of personal feelings in how you want to rank them.
Yeah.
Like there's some obvious ones and there's less obvious ones. There's arguments, I think from 11 on you can argue.
even then, like there's a lot of them just between whatever. Well, we'll go over that another time. But I'm gonna just count down from 10, and after that, you tell me what you think, and I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
So, 10, Kamaru Usman. We saw him defend his title on Fight Island. 9, GSP, George Rush St. Pierre. 8, Stipe. 7, Zhang Wei Li. 6, Israel Adesanya. 5, Henry Cejudo. 4, Valentina Shevchenko. 3, Khabib Nurmagomedov. 2, John Jones, and then 1, Amanda Nunes. Now, give me. I know what you're angry about. At least one of the things you're angry about. So go ahead.
John Jones is a absolutely great fighter. He is a monster. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the guys that, even with Conor in his prime, was always a pay-per-view primetime must-watch guy.
Yep.
He is not the second best fighter in UFC. Maybe in his peak, maybe when he was, but my issue with him is, you think of Nunes, you think of Khabib, who's right behind. Mm-hmm. You think of a lot of these guys, and you just think of pure dominance.
Yeah. That
there's very little questions when they step into a fight. John Jones has had some real fights. He's had some fights where you could look and go, he might have lost that one. If he didn't have a belt around his waist, he might have lost that one. You can't tell me that's a second best fighter in UFC if you've ever had that thought. That one went the distance, and I don't know if he actually won it. So no, I don't like that at all. I think Israel's low at 6. I like that. The guys ahead of him are good. I honestly think John Jones fits better at 6, and you can kind of slot everyone up one more, and maybe I would put Israel closer to 4 or 3, because I really think he's at that level of talent. He's a guy that, like I said, I favor him in every single fight. I expect him to beat the hell out of whoever he's fighting and just wear him down, because that's just his style. You never see him on the true defensive because he's always in control. Mm-hmm. Besides that, I kind of like some of the rankings. Again, it's tough to say because it's your preference, but those are all my only really 2 big issues. And if anyone has the balls to say Amanda Nunes doesn't deserve to be number 1, they honestly should have just done like Omega and put her up there and then started the rankings at 1 through 10. Because we have never seen a more dominant fighter than Amanda Nunes. Not Ronda Rousey, not Conor McGregor, not Brock Lesnar, not any of them, not Anderson Silva, not any of the greats. So she's on a league of her own. Dave, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm happy that Usman is getting some respect.
Yes.
Get put in number 10 because Usman's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy he's there. GSP at number 9. I thoroughly love GSP.
It's charity.
I don't think he needs number 9 right now. It is. I don't even know if he's going to fight ever again. Because I believe he said, like, there's guys he sees out fighting. He's like, oh, I know I could beat him, but I don't really want to go through camp. And I've seen fighters, they keep fighting and they don't go out the way they want. I want to go out on my own terms. I want to go out the way I want.
The only difference with GSP is he did go out on his own terms, but there is no doubt in my mind.
Oh, he can come back.
Good camp. GSP comes back, and it's not close, depending on who he fights.
Yeah.
If he fights one of those other guys, if he fights, another top tier guy.
I would love to see him fight Khabib. I would love to see him fight.
I don't even know, because he's fought these top tier guys when we haven't seen him for a while, and it's like, I don't know, GSP's rusty, he's an underdog. Then he beats the hell out of him.
I would love to see him fight Khabib. I think that would be one of the best fights we've ever seen in our life.
I'm telling you right now, if I'm Khabib, I don't take that fight.
No, he wants to.
I know, but I do everything not to take that fight. Because that could be the fight that ends my legacy.
It's legacy. You got to do it. That's simple.
But that could be the fight that ends Khabib's legacy. It really could, because GSP is that good of a fighter.
Yeah, I know.
And while it's charity, it's understandable.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I agree with you that John Jones shouldn't be number 2. I think he did not perform as we always see John Jones did against Dominic Reyes in his title defense. Yep. And Dominic Reyes is a good fighter. He's a damn good fighter. He's number 47 in his top 50, understandably so. He has a lot of power in his strikes.
But Jones should have dismantled him.
Jones should have won.
Yeah.
He should have won. And he should have done better than he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree he shouldn't be number 2. He should be a little bit lower on this list.
He's a top 10 fighter, but he's not number 2.
Yeah. Zhang Weili, for the most part, I'm okay with most of this. But, I mean, Khabib could be number 2. The problem is so many of these people are dominant. In fact, I'm actually kind of okay with Adesanya being where he is because Adesanya has only had, one title defense, actually. He beat Robert Whittaker and he beat Yoel Romero. But he's beat a lot of people to get there. But Robert Whittaker was to unify the belt, and then Yoel was to defend it. And now he has Cuesta. So, I mean, it's just going to build on his legacy if he keeps winning. Mm-hmm. But it's understandable where he is. I mean, guy's 75-5 in kickboxing record. He's 19-0 right now in the UFC. It's understandable that he's up there. He's disgusting, especially how good he is on his feet. Mm-hmm. But I'm fine with him being at 6. Henry Cejudo at 5. You know what? I might even argue that Henry Cejudo could be moved up a little bit because Henry Cejudo, let's not forget, he's a double champ. The man doesn't lose. He's disgusting. I don't love Henry Cejudo, but he's actually very good. Like there's not many as good as he was. But Khabib should be number 2, and Amanda Nunes is one of the greatest of all time. I think there can be an argument for a talent pool kind of thing. I think there can be an argument for that, mainly because, I mean, you look at GSP and what he's done throughout his whole career. You look at how Anderson Silva was 16-fight win streak, just defended his title so many times against so many people. Like, they ran out of people for him to fight too, for the most part. And they had to wait for younger people to come in. Chris Weidman was not old. So, but believe me, Amanda Nunes, just as dominant as them, just in discussion as much as them. The
thing is,
so I understand why she's won.
With fighters like Nunes, with fighters like Silva, and certain fighters, you have to ask, though, is it the talent pool or are they just that much better? You know, it's kind of the one. It's the chicken or the egg there, because we saw for a little bit, once Rousey lost, it went from home, and then it went over to Miesha Tate, who could never get past Rousey. So it kind of changed hands a few times, and then Nunes got a hold of it, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we were looking at these other women, and we're just like, they're amazing. They're great fighters, and they are. Holly Holm is an absolute legend in kickboxing.
Yeah.
And was a very good champion. But Nunes, I think it's more of Nunes is that good. I don't want to think that. Nunes
is that good, but we also have to remember that as much as I love women's MMA and women's UFC, it's just not as big of a roster as the men's MMA and men's UFC. It's going to get just as big. It's getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to see even better fights. So Amanda Nunes definitely deserves to be in the GOAT discussion. She defended a super fight for both belts. She defended both those belts, double champ. She's obviously one of the best ever. I'm just saying, I think there could be an argument for someone like GSP, who we've seen come back and beat top talent. Like, the man's ridiculous. Or the way Anderson Silva's streak went, or just some other fighters in history. But for the got a little bit off top 10. But for the most part, I agree. Khabib could be number 2 because of how good he is and how dominant he is.
Should be number 2.
Yeah.
He's the best male fighter in the world right now.
Yeah. But for the most part, I agree with most of this. I mean, Shevchenko and Zhang obviously deserve to be there. They're dominant as well.
Yeah. So overall, it's fun to argue those things. Obviously, they take time to put the rankings in. It really doesn't matter. You have guys like Dave who are good at fighting games that'll take like the worst guy in the game and just beat up on everyone. Because
CM Punk's in. I'm going to use CM Punk again.
And why is CM Punk in it?
I don't know why CM Punk is in it. I don't know. I had no idea. I don't think he's fighting ever again.
Why would he? Got his ass handed to him. Like, the guy isn't a good fighter. It's okay, CM Punk. We're not all good fighters. He's not a good fighter. Go back to the WWE, dude. You were amazing as a wrestler. Go. But anyway, that's going to close out this episode of Cuesta Dos.
Maybe this one will go up. Maybe this one will go up.
With that note, I'm going to make sure this never sees the light of day.
I mean, that wouldn't be a surprise.
You are such a jerk. But all right. You want to find David? You can find him doing absolutely nothing on social media. On Twitter at DQuesta308, Instagram Questacola. But if you follow him, he'll follow you and just kind of stalk you the whole time and see what you're doing.
Maybe I'll start talking about UFC more. I probably will.
Maybe.
I'm getting very big into the fight game. I'll always say I really just started getting into it last year, but I'm getting very into it. So.
And he'll have his like insightful things like that was a great fight, and that'll be it. So
I mean, wow. Maybe. Sometimes the small comments, that's all you need.
Again, I'm Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @_Cuesta30. Cuesta Dose still doesn't have either of those, and I think that's just kind of the beginning of a thing. It's not going to happen just because. Is Yapti here? I think no. Yapti is somewhere. I was gonna have Yapti say hello, but he is not here right now. But again, Cuesta Dose, everyone. Hopefully this sees the light of day. Thanks for listening. Have a good one all.